files in a single shot. Okay, so actually, as I said, this is my SSIS one. So I got couple of files. Okay, so let's say this all are like less than 100, greater than 100. Okay, this all are two files. See, this has some data, 3 records. This has some same 3 columns. Okay, so I'm having 2 files. So okay, we don't go with that. We'll see the merge one. So it has 101. It has one ID, left ID, right? Okay, it has something. Okay, yeah, I'm going to create 2 files. So I'll create a separate folder and I'll create that. Okay, so what I'll be creating, I'll create a new folder called files. In this folder, I'll copy this merge. Merge 1, merge 2, merge 3. So merge 1, I'll have only up to like only 101. It will have only data for the company ID 101. Merge 2 will have data for only company ID 102. And merge 3 will have data for only company ID 103. Okay, so this is my data. Now what I want is that I want to load all the 3 files into one table. Okay, I want to load all the 3 files into one table. So I will be loading. So let's say you don't know anything. So whatever the knowledge you have up to now on SSIS, because you didn't learn much things in SSIS, right? So we have learned only few things. So according to assumption, what can we do? How can I load that all the 3 files in a single table? Can anyone say? Hello? Hello everyone. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay. So Vinay, Manas, Kundan. No, I want to merge all the 3. I want to load all the 3 files in a single table. You can use a union all. Union all is for many, right? Okay. So let's say, okay, this is my scenario. Okay, you got the 3 files, you loaded, done. I'm fine. So you are saying that if I have like 3 files, then you use 3 sources and do the union all and load it into the destination. Okay, that's fine. I'm good. Because, yeah, okay. So this is my scenario. Today I may get 2 files, tomorrow I may get 10 files, day after tomorrow I may get 20 files. And after that, on the 4th day, next day, I may get only 1 file. So the number of files may get changed. How you are going to do? Okay. So in that scenario, we had one thing here. So I am going to explain you. So like there are a couple of issues. So in order to overcome the issues, Microsoft has added some other thing. So based on that, we'll be doing. Okay. And that is the one issue. And other issue is, so every time when we use the source, you need to manually give the file name. Okay. So in the companies, it is a standard practice in each and every company. So whenever they give the file, they give the file name plus date. Let's say the file name is test. So they'll give test underscore today's date 11 dash underscore 12 underscore 2014. They'll give that date anytime, because in the future you want to see if they want to see if they give the file just to test if they give the file name only with the if they give the file only with the same file name, then after like whenever you load the file, it's a normal standard is that after loading the file you move the file to some archive. It is so that you'll be having a backup of the files for some days. Okay, you want to have the files history. if it is on the same name, you can't store the same file on multiple times, right? So that's the case. In order to make the file name unique, what they do, they'll give the file name underscore, they'll give the date, today's date. Whenever they load, they'll give the today's date. So in that scenario, you don't know which date it has. Suppose they may also give the date and time along with the file name. So in that scenario, you don't know, right? So this is a scenario. Okay. Today, Chandana, are you able to connect? Okay. So are you able to understand, right, my point? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. But in the SSIS in the source, how can you give the dot? You can't give that, right? So actually, Vinay was saying this way. So let's say my file is, I'm having a file A slash in the A folder, the file name is test underscore month, date and year. Okay, this will be the normal .txt. This will the file I'll be getting. Okay, so you'll go to the flat file source and you'll assign this file manually. That is the one way. Other way, Vinay was telling it, okay, test.star. Vinay, star.txt. If you give this in the fat file, it will not take. It will not assume the star as everything. Yeah, that now the whatever I'm going to say, you can use that one only. But in the source, you can't mention particularly star. It will not accept. Okay. Yeah, we are going to see that all. Once we load, will be moving them to archive also now. I'll show you. Okay. So there are like multiple other things. So if we have, so basically they'll give. So normally what we are doing currently, if you want to load any file, we'll open the SSIS. Okay. We'll add one connection manager. So this is the EMP. Let's say we are loading EMP. So you will manually mention that path here every time. Okay, here in that path, if I want to load some file, I need to manually give that file name and the path for that. I need to manually mention. Okay, is there any scenario like, yeah, is there any scenario? Yeah, we have a scenario. We have a scenario, so I'll explain that scenario. So to overcome this, what Microsoft did there's a process in the Microsoft. There's one component. There's one task. What the task does? So to the task, we'll give the folder path. And we'll give file, which type of file we want. So in that scenario, we'll give the file as txt star.txt. Vinay. Hello? So that because, so if you give so since we want to load all the files, so let's say this is our scenario. We are having merge files. We are having 3 merge files. So if you want to load all the 3 merge files, we'll give merge star.txt. So whatever the file starts with merge, it will only load that files. Let's say we along with this folder, we might have some other files. Okay, I'm copying some other files. I am copying some other files. So my system should not load the other. It should only load the first 3 files. Merge 1, merge 2, merge 3. So then I'll give, so all the 3 files has common name called merge, right? So I'll take all the files which is starting with merge. After merge and before dot, star means it may have any number. Like in the SQL Server, when we do the wildcard search, we'll give percentile, right? The same way here you give star. So after merge, it may have any name. Before dot, it may have one letter or 2 letter. It may have anything, but the first 5 letters should be merged. That's it. And the extension should be .txt. So accordingly we'll give. So what this task does, it goes to the path and checks all the files. So how many files you have, that many times the task will execute. Okay. So let's say I'm having 3 files. So what the task does, it goes and checks, okay, since it has 3 files, so it will execute 3 files. And then what we do, we will have one data flow task in that task, inside that one. Okay. So what the data flow task, whenever we load, for each time the see, since we have 3 files, the task will execute for 3 times, and for each file it will execute for 1 time. So let's say I got file 1, file 2, file 3. So it will execute for file 1, it will execute for file 2, it will execute for file 3. Okay, and what we are going to see is that since it executes for each file, so we'll store which file the task is executing. We'll store that file and path in that variable, and we'll pass that file path to this data flow task source dynamically. Okay, so first time, since this task will run for first time, so it will run for the first file and will capture that file and path in a variable. Okay, that variable will pass to the data flow task for loading that file. Done. And second time it will again run for the file 2. Again that one will be loaded in the task 2. So that one will be loaded into the variable, and again that variable will be passed to this data flow task, that file path, because that variable will have the file path, right? So it will be passed to the data flow, and it will execute for second time with that file, for that file, and third time it will execute for again for the third file. So by using single thing, so depends. So today if you have 1 file, so it will run for 1 file, that's it. If you have like 3 files, it will run for 3 files. If you have 10 files, it will run for 10 times. For each time it will pass that file to the data flow task. Okay, so here it is easy. So even though the files count may change, it doesn't matter. It directly loads. If you have like 1 file, it will run for 1 file, 1 time. If you have for 10 files, then it will run for 10 files. And one more thing is that whatever the files you load, all files should follow the same structure, same number of columns, same data types, and like same kind of thing. Okay, same column names, yeah, same type of column names. Okay, the structure should be same. Okay, are you able to get my point? So this is the way. I'm going to again make the step-by-step process. Okay, first one. Yeah, not in the source. I said we can mention, but not in the source. This is my text, right? I can't mention the star in the source connection itself. If this is emp.test, I want to get the file starts with emp, and after that if I give star, it will not consider as a wildcard. It will just take, okay, the file name should be emp_star only. So that you can't give it in the source. We are going to see by using the breakpoints which file it is loading. We are going to see that one clearly, so that you will be clear. Okay, so now I'm going to write step by at the beginning. So I'll write couple of steps so that we can go with that. First step is that we'll have one task called ForEachLoop container. Okay, ForEachLoop container, because it should run for number of files, right? So that's why we'll call it as loop. For each file, it will run as a loop. So if you have like 10 times, so it will run a loop of 10 times. For each file, one loop for each file. Okay. So what it does, this is a container we'll be using. So it is a kind of name I'm going to show you. So the first step is that it will go and check the number of files. Okay. And it will execute for each file, it will execute one time for each file. So if you have like 10 files, then it will execute 10 times. For each file, one time for each file. Yeah. ఓ మీకు అలానే అర్థమైంది. మీ మెసేజ్ వచ్చింది నాకు. ఓకే, మీకు ఈ స్టెప్స్ కనిపిస్తున్నాయా? ఓకే 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 అయితే నేను క్లోజ్ చేస్తాను ఇవన్నీ. మీకేమైనా కనిపిస్తుందా ఇంకా? ఓకే ఓకే అది వినయ్ లాస్ అయినా నేను. ఉన్నావా వినయ్? ఇప్పుడు నాకు కనిపిస్తున్నావు. యాక్చువల్ మీ అందరూ ఉన్నారు, నాకైతే కనిపిస్తున్నారు మీ అందరూ. అది అప్పుడు స్టక్ అవుతుంది, ఒక నిమిషం ఆగండి అయిపోతుంది. కనిపిస్తుందా మీకు? అయితే లైట్ మీరు ఎక్కడ ఆన్లైన్, అందరూ ఆన్లైన్లో ఉన్నారు కదా, ఒకసారి నేను స్టాప్ చేసి స్టార్ట్ చేస్తేనే అయిపోతుంది ఇప్పుడే. ఓకే, 1 minute. మీటింగ్ ఐడి M43. సారీ, మళ్ళీ డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయిపోయింది, ఒక నిమిషం. M48 634 890. కొందరు మీరు జాయిన్ కావాలి ఇంకా అవుతున్నా? ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు కనిపిస్తుందా స్క్రీన్ అందరికీ? ఓకే, ఇది బాగుంది. అయితే ఫస్ట్ స్టెప్ ఏంటిదంటే, మనం దీంట్లో ఫర్ ఈచ్ లూప్ కంటైనర్ వాడతాము. ఫర్ ఈచ్, ఓకే, ఫర్ ఈచ్ లూప్ కంటైనర్ అనేది ఒక టాస్క్ అనమాట. దీంట్లో మనం వెళ్తాము, ఓన్లీ ఈ నేమ్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే చాలు ఇప్పుడు టైం బీయింగ్కి. సో what it does, what the for each loop container, we will mention the path and the file type. It will go and find all the files. First it will count the number of files which satisfy the condition you had provided. Okay, count the number of files, and what it does, it executes for each file. Let's say we have 10 files, then it will execute 10 into one time for each file separately. Okay, for each file separately it will execute 10 times for each file. Okay, let's say we got 10 files, so it will execute for each file it will execute 10 times separate. Okay, then after that what we are going to do, every time it executes, we add one option in the for each loop task, for each loop container, to say, okay, I got 10 files ABCD. Okay, let's say I got 5 files. So first time it will execute for this file, next it will execute, next is C for, next for D, next for E. So it will execute 5 times, right? So there is an option in the for each loop container. We can ask for which file currently the for each loop container is running. Okay, so because it runs for every file, right? So we can ask, we can capture, let's say the for each loop container is running for this file, so we can capture that path and file name in the variable. Okay, and we'll capture that path and file name in the variable. So you might all remember I have said you dynamic changing the path for each connection manager, right? So you will dynamically send that connection manager to the source file. Okay, you'll capture them, so you'll capture the file capture in the variable. Okay, which one you will capture means for the file, for which file it is running, you will capture them in the variable. And after that, once it gets captured, so you'll pass that as a source, since you're going to dynamically change the connection manager for the data flow task source, and automatically it will update it for each file. Okay, so I think once we see the real time, then you will be clear. Now what we'll do, first don't worry about anything, don't worry about the for each loop container or anything. Okay, first we'll just take one data flow task. See, I can't see my SSIS toolbox. Okay, so this is my package. I can't see any SSIS toolbox, so I'll click here, SSIS toolbox. Then I got, so go to the favorite, drag and drop the data flow task. Okay, now since I'll write as load file, done and good. So now I'll go here, create a connection manager. So dummy, right? You can create, time being we are not loading, but you can create a connection manager because we want to set the source file accordingly to the number of columns that we have, right? So first we'll select the dummy one, click on this. So you don't have any source, I'll click, I'll just map to the one file, whichever the file I have, it is a merge one, right? I'll map to the merge one. Anyway, it's not going to matter, but we'll map to get the structure of the file. That file has 3 columns. Okay, the columns are not in the first data row, right? It is not there, so I'll click columns. Then I got 3 columns. Done. Next I'll go with this. I got the columns, so I'll rename the columns accordingly. I'll rename it as a company ID, CID. Next I'll rename it as a semester or quarter, whatever I want. Next I'll rename it as a sales. Okay, so I got the 3 columns done. So now since I'll show it as a varchar data string only. If I want, I can change the types also, but I'll keep it as string only, nothing to worry. So now I got the structure. I've created the structure based on that file. I've created the structure. Done. And I'll name the connection manager also. It is like merge connection, right? Merge. Then I'll click OK. Now what happens? A structure will be created, and the structure I'm using as a source. Done. I've created. I'm good. Next I'll take the OLEDB destination. It's a standard, so we'll take one file and we'll do the OLEDB destination. Then I'll connect it here. Click on this. Now I'll take a new connection manager since I don't have anything, right? I'll create test database. Okay. Next I'll create a new table. I'll create a new table and I'll name it as merge for each. Okay, done. I'll create a table. I'll map them, so everything will be mapped. Okay. Now you have created a structure, right? Based on one file, because you are going which files you are going to load. You need to create the same structure in the source, because source will have some column, it will have some data type, right? So by default, you need to create a same connection manager. Whatever the file you load, you need to create the connection manager accordingly. You can use one default. Okay, done. I have created now. Okay. Now if I run this, what happens? Whatever the file I have given in this connection manager, it will load only that file. It will not load other file, because in the connection manager I have given only file for merge one here. See, when I take it here, you can see it's only merge one file. So it will load only merge one, but I want to load all the different files, right? So for that purpose, what I'll do, just keep aside. Don't worry, just keep aside. Now there is in the containers you will be having. In the containers, there is a container called ForEachLoop container. Drag and drop the ForEachLoop container. Okay. What this container is going to do, it is going to run as a number of files. Not only files, we can do it for many options, many other options, but here we are seeing for the files. Okay. Now I'll click on this. When I click on this, by default you will have the name. I can give the name load merge files. Merge files. Okay, whatever name I want, I can give. See, general. When I go to the collection, now it will be asking me each and everything. So it will ask me the folder. So I can select the folder and browse. It's on the desktop, right? It is a test files. It is a files. This is my folder. Select the folder. Automatically you will get the path. Okay. And after that, what kind of file I need? So this is a way it depends. If I want to load all the merge files, whichever the file starting with merge, then I'll give merge star. And if I want to load the text files, so there may be couple of files. One will be the merge1.txt. Okay. Other file may be the merge2.xl. Okay, XLS. Okay, merge2.xls. So I'm having two different extensions, but I want to load two of them. Then you will give merge star.star. It means that it may be any extension. It may be .txt or .xls. It doesn't matter. Just it will do the merge one. That's it. Okay. And after that is a one scenario. And if you want to load the merge only .txt files, then you will give the merge star.txt. So it will only load the .txt files, and the .txt files, in that .txt files it will filter only the files starting with merge. After that it might have any name. Okay, so we can do that way. So what you will do here, since it is merge, right? So I'll give merge star.txt. .txt. That's it. So it will load all the files starting with merge and extension of .txt. Done. This is I am giving manually, and at the same time I can also pass them through expression. You can have this path and file type in one variables, and in the expression you can give them dynamically. That is another way. Okay, I'm going to show you them. I'm going to show you. how to do that. After this I will show you. Okay, so this is the thing, I got it done. Next, what I want, since my file, this for each loop container runs for the number, so since I have got 3 files, right, it's starting with a merge, so this for each loop container runs 3 times. So I am having 3 files here. So this for each loop container runs 3 times. So for each time when it runs, it will have that path and for which file it is running. So it will run for the merge 1 file, it will run for the merge 2 file, it will run for the merge 3 file. So when it is running for the merge 1 file, it will have the path and the file name. So by default it will have, but we need to capture them. How to capture the file for which it is running means, go to the variable mapping. There you need to create a variable and you need to map. So there are 2 ways to create a variable. Prior to this you can create a variable, that is a one way, or else directly you can create a variable here if not. Okay, so I'll create a variable. This is to the container. I want to create the scope of the variable at the package level. Done. I'll give the name as for each merge path. Okay, for each merge path. So it will have the merge files path. So names, don't worry about the value or anything, just give it the path, that's it. Name only you need to change. Okay, after that I got, so now what happens whenever I run, since it will not have any value currently, it will not have any, but that value will be written during the runtime. Okay, I'll click OK. Done. I'm done with the for each loop container. So now what I want, since it runs 3 times, I want the data flow task also to run for 3 times. So I'll just drag the data flow task and keep it in the for each loop container. Okay, so now I am done. I kept in the for each loop container, but you should create some relationship. How can the data flow task, in the data flow task you are using the source, this is a source connection manager. How can the source connection manager know that I need to because this, when the for each loop container runs 3 times for each file, so if it is running for the file 1, how can the source connection manager knows that the for each loop container is running for that file? So there is no relationship, right? Now we are going to relate this for each loop container to the data flow task source. So data flow task means we need to, in the source we are using this merge connection manager. So sorry, so we need to point the connection for each loop container to the merge. So what we do, as I covered the dynamic connection managers, right? Since in the for each loop container, the variable will have the path and the file for which the for each loop is running. When I open the merge command, merge connection manager, you can see what this file name has. It has a path and the file name. Okay, it has a path and the file name. That's it. So now what we are going to do, we are going to dynamically pass that variable to this merge source connection manager. How to pass it? Click on this, go to the properties. Now window, right side window will open. Here I'll click on the expressions. So once I click, I'll get this. Click on this. Since it is a connection manager, click on the connection manager. Connection string, click on this. So you should point the variable, since we created one variable for capturing the for each loop file and path, right? So now drag and drop it here, because it will not have any value, so it will show as blank here. Okay, done. That's it. Okay, you are good. So automatically what happens, for each time it is running, since that path and file name will be loaded into the variable, and that variable you are dynamically changing this connection manager, right? So automatically it will run for 3 times. Now see, even though we had given here in the connection manager, by default it is storing the merge 1 path. By default it is storing the merge 1 path, right? Okay. Okay. Now what I will do, I will click on this. Now I'll create one thing here. I'll create a data source view here. Or else what I'll do, because since you have few records, so in the blink of your eye this process will execute. But I want to slow the process so that we can see how many times it is executing. So for that purpose, I'll take the execute SQL task, I'll connect it, and I'll make the execute SQL task to wait for 3 seconds. Okay. Now here you have a command called wait delay. I think I can execute in T-SQL. I'm not sure the command. So it's a wait for delay or wait delay. Yeah, wait for delay. So you'll have hours, minutes, seconds. So when I execute, yeah, this is a command. I'll copy this command so that our process will wait for 10 seconds. See, I have given wait for delay 10, so the process is still executing. It will wait for 10 seconds. See, when 10 seconds is done, it is successfully completed. Okay. So now I'll ask the process to wait for 10 seconds. Done. Okay. Or else I'll ask the process for 5 seconds. That will be okay. Done. 5 seconds. Okay. So I can capture that. Because since if you do it will load faster and we can't capture that process. So since I'm asking after completion of this, it will wait for 5 seconds. Again, it will load the second time so that we can capture that. Okay, how many times it is executing, we can count. Okay. So now what I will do, I'll also create a breakpoint here. Or I'll not create any breakpoint. Just I'll create. Now when I'll run, now my package will run for 3 times. First time it will run, it is executing for this, it is waiting for 5 seconds. See, again blink of it is again it came to second time. See, okay, again it will come for third time. See, yeah, so it executed 3 times. Okay, now let's see the data. When I go here, since I have seen right, every file has the data for file merge file 1 it has the data for, see, merge file 2 has the data for 102. Merge file 1 day as a data for 101, merge file 3 as a data for 103, right? Now let's see the destination connection. When I click on the table, this is a destination connection, right? Click on this, click the view existing data. Okay, sorry, it is in the debugging mode. I need to stop the package execution. Done. Now when I click and view existing data, this is the other way to view it. See, now you can see all the records 101, 102, 103. Okay. So okay, you are good, but you don't know, right? So we can test in other process. One more way we can test. Other way is that I'm going to add a because we'll be having one variable, right? Variables. So you got one variable. That variable will have the path for which this FileSystemTask container is executing. Since it executes 3 times, for each time it will execute for one file. That file and path will be captured in this variable, right? So you want to see, okay, which file is there in the variable. Currently, I don't have any value in the variable. See, I don't have any value. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll create a breakpoint here. Okay, pre-execute of that. Pre-execute, I've created a breakpoint. Done. Okay. Now see, I'll start running this. Now it came and it stopped here. Now I'll go to the debug. Go to here, click on the locals. I want to see the variable now. User variable, right? See, for each path. See, now you can see it is running for the merge one file. Now it is running for the merge one. Now I'll start it. See, again, since it runs for the second file, see, you can see the variables here. Now you can see the file name. See, now it is having merge 2. So now it is this. There is a file called merge2 in the path. Now see, there's a path. This is a path for the merge2 file. Now when I run again, that will be overwritten with the merge3 file. See, okay. See, merge3. Are you able to get my point? Hello. So that is a scenario. Yeah, one time for each file. No. One file, each file, one file. It will run one time for each file. So it runs 3 times. Okay. And that one you can capture in the variable. In the ForEachLoop container, you can capture them in the variable mappings. No, see, first time it executed all the 3 files. So the last file has 4 records. So you can see the 4 records at the time. See, no, last file has 4 records. Now you can see, first file has, okay, sorry, because I have created that one, right? I'll start it. See, first file has 2 records. Second file also I think has 2 records. So now it will come. Yeah, it again stopped because of this one, because of the breakpoint. See, it has the 2 records, right? See, third file has 4 records. When it comes to this debugger, so it is in the debugger. Click on this. I am starting. See, 4 records. See, if you want, we can manually go and check that. So first file has 2 records. Okay, second file has 2 records. See, third file has 4 records. Okay, that is the one way you can do. Now what I'm going, and one more important thing is that, so better normally you'll create a for each loop variable, right? Since it is blank, so you can't use this in the expressions. So normally generally they'll give some default location. Okay, abc dash abc.txt, just a default file name. In order to not to make it as a blank, they'll give some default value. It doesn't make any sense anyway. It will be overwritten, right, during the runtime. So just because if you want to use this value in some other variables, then it might create a problem. So that's the reason they'll just give some default values to this. Okay, to the for each loop variable. Are you able to get my point? Okay, so now I'm going to remove those breakpoints. Okay, now I'll explain you two types. Now we are given in the collection, I have passed this path manually, right? Path and the test I have passed manually. Now I'll pass them dynamically. Means you can get that path and variable, that path file name and the path from a table and load them into the variables. You can take all the steps because anyway we covered that, how to load the data from a table to the variable. We have shown you, right? So that's the thing you need to do. Assume that we loaded them into the variable, this folder path and the file name. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll create two variables here. One variable I'll name it as a path. Okay, and it is our string type, and since I copied that path, I'll paste it here, the path name. That's it. Okay, as files, you can give slash or it's your wish. Both matters the same. So now I'll give the file name. Okay, as a something, or I can give the name of the file. Whatever name you want, you can give. After that, since it is a varchar, so I'll name it as string. Done. After this, now I'll give the value here. What value I'll be giving is that it is a merge, right? Merge star.txt. That is the thing. Done. Okay, merge star.txt. Good, we are good. So what I'll do? So these are two variables I have given. So now what I will be doing is that go to the for each loop container, go to the collection. So you can give it. So anyway, we are going to pass dynamically, right? You can give whatever thing you want. Default values you can give. If you don't give, it doesn't matter. Even though if you don't give, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now, in order to pass them dynamically, click on the expressions in the collection. You can see one expression. Click on this. Expand this. When you expand, here you will be adding. One you will be adding for the dictionary, that is for the folder path. Okay, dictionary is for the folder path. Click on the dictionary. Click on this. Now dictionary has that folder path, right? So this path has that this is a folder path. Ever like, okay, I got it. This is for the dictionary. Next, I want to give the file name. File name is nothing but you will be giving as a file spec. File spec is nothing but it is related to this kind of file name. So now where do I have the file name? I have the file name in the name of the file, right? Drag and drop, that's it. So dynamically, when it tries to load, at that time it will load them into this, and it will on that path it will check the number of files based on this number name of file properties. Based on that, it will check that file related files, and it will run number of times. Okay. So there is nothing here, but I have given them dynamically. I have given the directory and file spec dynamically. I have given. Click OK. Done. You are good. So now even though I have run, if I run this, still I can see them. So for that purpose, I'll again manually I'll go to the edit breakpoints on pre-execute and post-execute. Anyway, both are same for the data flows because the file will be loaded here, right? So pre or post, everything is same. Now I'll just load it here. See, now see in the path for each loop one, debug, Windows, locals. See, this is a path, user path we are given, right? Where is the for each one? Yeah, see, merge1.txt. Now if I run second, and one more thing you need to observe is that next time when I run, see I'm not selecting this one, right? Next time when I run, out of this all variables, whichever the variable has a value change, that will be in the red color. You can easily see that. See, because there is a value change for this, right? So that is in the red color. So none of other things has no value change. So this is also like, see, execution duration, this is also some value change. So that's why it is showing in the red color. So if I again run this, see, now you can see there is again value change, right, for the file 3. So that will be in the red color. So it is like automate the SQL server done in order to identify easily. So wherever there is a change of value, that will be in the red color. See, okay. అర్థమైంది అందరికీ? హలో, యా. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను ఏం చేస్తాను అంటే నార్మల్గా కంపెనీ వాట్ ఎవర్ ద కంపెనీ పీపుల్ డస్ ఈజ్ దట్. సో యా, క్యాన్సల్. I'll just click and I'll ignore the breakpoints. Okay. And one more thing, don't worry, because I'm loading the same data into the table and again there might be some duplicate records. See, if I view, see, there will be a lot of duplicate records. Okay, because I am running many times, right? In case of file, it will be overwritten, but in the table you can't overwrite it. Just it will be keep on adding to the existing data. So we are good. From this point we are fine. Then what what the company people does is that, so there will be a standard. Okay, you ran these files. Tomorrow the other users, what they do, they'll add some other files. See, so today I loaded these files. So tomorrow the users, they have added these 3 files. So next time what I want, I should only load these files which added later on. I should not load the already loaded files. In that scenario, what should I do? Because here there is no other scenario for me to do it, right? Because next day it may not come this way. So it may come as merge 4. It may come as merge 5. So just I'm giving a scenario. It may come with different names. Here it may come with a merge 6. చిన్నగా మీకు ఏమైనా ఇష్యూ ఉందా? Okay, yeah. So let's say we already loaded for the merge 1, merge 2, merge 3 files, right? So what should we do? So tomorrow so this 4, 5, 6 are the newly added files. I can't say my process which files to load, because either I can give merge start.txt, so it will load all the files. I can't say that you need to load only the file start which is greater than 3, right? I can't do I can't do that way. There is no way for me to assign the flow to only load the files which are loaded today. There are a couple of other things, but you can write you can write .NET. There are other things, but it is a complex thing. Okay. So normally, generally what the people do, once you load the file, they'll move the file to the archive. Let's say they'll create one folder called archive. Okay. Archive and history, both are same. Okay, history means for reference purpose. So in future they want to see, okay, I loaded this file on so and so date, so I want to see what data I have. So in order for the reference purpose, so once they load, they will move that file into this history folder. They need to move, so that whichever the file loaded, they will move. Since we loaded the 3 files, so all the 3 files will be moved in the history. Done. So it will be moved. So next time when they load only have the latest files. Okay. That is the thing they will be having. So now what they do, I'm just going to copy this new files. Okay, I'm going to cut them and paste it in somewhere. Cut them. I'll paste it here. Yeah, okay, I'll paste it here in the history itself. Yeah. Now I'll go to the file. So what I'll do now, once I load, whichever the file I load, I'll move the file into some other path. Okay. So in order to move that one, in order to move the files, there's one task. There's a one task to move the file. So you will be calling it as a file system task. It will be in the common. You will be calling it as a file system task. Okay. See, I can connect it here. I can keep the file system task after the ForEachLoop container, but I don't know, because what files I need to move. I need to move the files which are loaded. So when I come out of the ForEachLoop container, in the ForEachLoop container only you can see, right, for which file it is running. So if I come here, out of for each loop container, I don't know which file I need to move. It can move only one file. So if you want to pass that file dynamically which you want to move, just add it in the for each loop container, and that path of the file will be there in that variable, right? So you can take that variable here. Open the for each file. So I need to connect it because it should run after the execute SQL task, right? Connect it here. Now I'll open the file system task. Now you can see destination connection. I'm minimizing this all. General, operation, and source connection. First we'll give the source connection. See, source connection I'll be getting from a variable, right? So by default it will be path. You can also get from the variable, or you can manually mention the connection here. That's the thing. Since already I am getting that path, which file I am loading, I am capturing that in the for each loop container, right? Since I'll be giving that variable, so I'll select true. And I'll select the variable. Which variable has the path, I'll select. So it is having the for each loop, right? This will also, I'll select that path. That's it, done. Now next, I'll select the destination connection. So in the destination connection, I need to select which. So before selecting the destination connection, so next is this is a source connection. Next you have the operation. So in the operation, there are a couple of things. You can copy the file, copy and paste it to other file. You can delete a file. See, when I delete a file, there is no destination. See, there is no, because deleting means it will automatically delete. That's why I could not see any destination. But moving copy a file means, since you'll copy and paste it somewhere, right? So definitely you'll be pasting somewhere. So where you want to paste. So that's why you can see the destination here. But when you give it as a delete file, you can't see any destination. Okay. So accordingly, you can select, since I want to cut the file from the source and move the file, right? Move the file means this is the thing. Okay. I want to move the file. So I'll select the move the file. This is my source. What is my destination? So I don't have anything. I can manually give because it is the same folder path, right? I'll tell like new collection, and this is okay, existing folder, right? It is a folder where I want to move. It is existing folder. So I'll select the existing folder, click browse, desktop, yeah, test files. In that also it is a files, in that it is history. So I'll select it, done, that's it. Click OK. So now I'll be having the source path. I'm moving into the history folder. Okay, that is a move operation. Done, that's it, good. So now when I run this, I'm running this. Okay, now you can see. I'll see the history. See, it will load this. Once it loaded, it will move that one to the history. See. Okay, it moved that file one into the history. Next, when it loads the second one, it will move. See, automatically it is moving into the history. Third one, see. Now when you go to the source, see, you don't have anything because already once it loads, it moves to the history. Are you able to get my point? Okay, that is the one thing we follow. So we have seen the same thing. Whatever you do here, you are going to implement the same thing in the project. It is a standard, so you can do the same thing. So this is the way how you will be loading the multiple files. Okay, and how to give the path name dynamically by going to the connection, by going to the expression. Directory is for the folders. File spec. Most of the people, they confuse the file name. They'll select the name and give the name. It's not here. For giving the name, you need to select the file spec. Okay, that's the thing. And after that, you will be using this file system task to move the file. Okay, so అర్థమైందా మానస్, కొండల్? Okay, Manas.